But our next speaker is Jennifer Say. I'm really excited to be asked to introduce her. She is an author as well. She's a filmmaker like me. We have a lot in common. A business executive, a 7-time member of the U.S. Women's National Gymnastics team, and 1986 U.S. Women's All-Round National Champion. Woo! Woo! Since we're in the wake of the Olympics, her first memoir, Chalked Up, was released in 2008, and it detailed the abuse in the sport of gymnastics, women's gymnastics. I actually watched her Emmy Award-winning film, Athlete A, yesterday when I flew in. I just downloaded it onto my phone because it's on Netflix. Highly recommend it. It's very, very well done. And in 1999, she began working for Levi Strauss and made it all the way up to chief marketing officer and then brand president. And then COVID hit. And 2020, that's when she came into my orb because I live in the Bay Area. And she was very outspoken, risking friendships, reputations, careers, for her being very outspoken about the COVID lockdowns and school closures and masking of children. So she resigned from her position at Levi, and now she's launched her new product, XXXY clothing line, and is the CEO of that. So join me in welcoming Jennifer Say.
I think I don't need that. If I have a mic here, I don't need that, right?
No.
Oh, I still need it.
Yeah,
oh.
That's just for the streaming.
Complicated. Okay. I'm going to stand, actually. Okay, I had like a thing planned, but I'm going to go off script, and I want to start with a few quick points, just responding to some of what I've been taking notes. So, let's see. A few people, I think, in the audience have asked the question, how close are we to kind of like reaching a tipping point? Not close. Let me be clear. We are not close. We have a long road ahead. I'm going to talk about why I think that is. That is not a reason to despair. That is a reason to push harder and bring more people on board. But I believe we are very far away, because for every positive kind of step forward, I feel we take 2 steps back. So just, log that, make of it what you will. The guy in the beginning, what was his name, the first guy? Bailey. He talked about how, Big Pharma is not responsible. They're not in this. They're not doing it to make money. That is total hogwash. Every company, every corporation has a marketing department. In some companies, I've worked in a lot of companies. I've been at the highest levels of corporate America. I've been in boardrooms and executive rooms for almost 30 years. Some companies call it demand creation. They don't even call it marketing. That's what they call it. That's what Nike calls it, demand creation. Do you understand what that means? We will create a demand for a particular product and you will buy it. That is what Big Pharma does. That's all they do all day long. So he's wrong. I'm just going to leave it at that. Third, the reason we brought a very narrow assortment of our product, the reason I started this brand, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of like how I came to that, is we have to change the culture. I love everyone here and what you're doing to fight the policy fight and the legislation, and we have to do that. But if we start at the end, we have lost. And this is what the left, which I used to be a part of, is so good at. They own the tools of culture. Music, art, fashion, brands. They smuggle these ideas in, and before you know it, you're agreeing and nodding your head with these ridiculous laws and this ridiculous legislation, and you find yourself alone, having no support when it's passing. So I asked myself, what can I do? And what I'm good at is the cultural piece of it, whether it's films or books or brands, and brands are what I know best. And don't think for a second that the brands have not smuggled these ideas in. It's not just merch, it's ideas, and they're getting smuggled into you through the brands. Well, I can make a brand just as good as Nike can. I'm probably going to curse a lot. Sorry, I do that. I didn't do it yet. I held back. But it's about culture change. If we wage this battle only on the front lines of legislation, you have lost before you started. I'm telling you that right now. You've lost before you started. You need to change hearts and minds. We need to do it, and we need to all work together to do it. And you need to bring your skill set to bear. What is it that you are good at? This is what I'm good at. I don't want to run for office. I don't want to do any of that. I've been asked. But I'm good at using content to change hearts and minds, and so that's why I started this brand, which we'll talk about a little bit. Someone else talked about this. Say no. Yeah, you can say no. It's hard to realize that sometimes. My family, for a year and a half in San Francisco, jumped the fences during COVID to go to playgrounds. The police were called every time. We fought with the police when they came. Here's something else we've said no to. We don't have a pediatrician. You know why? You know why. What is it? Why do I need to take my healthy child to the pediatrician? So they can be infiltrated, talked to about these ideas, so that you can be forced to vaccinate them. That's what well baby care visits are. That's what healthy kid visits are. So we don't have one. If my daughter's sick, she's probably fine. She'll have a fever, it'll pass, or we go to urgent care, and, that's it. So just say no. And my dad's a pediatrician, so my dad's an 81-year-old pediatrician. He practiced for 60 years, and I'll tell you, he's very glad he's not practicing right now because of how crazy things are. Look, I made these notes, and they're too small. I'm getting too old. I just want to say how grateful I am for moments like this. You need to lean on each other. For some of us who've been out there screaming and fighting and, losing friends and family for many years, it seems like we're tough and we're strong, but I gotta tell you, it just means the world to come and finally meet Tiffany, and we've known each other for 3 years, but only on the phone, and to lean on each other. And remember, for the people out there fighting, give them kind words and support, because it wears on all of us too, doesn't it? It's really, really difficult sometimes. So lean on each other, be the support for each other. I know a lot of people in here have lost friends, maybe jobs, maybe members of your family don't speak to you. I don't know who that might be, but I know that's probably happened to some of you, so lean on each other. Somebody else just said, I get this a lot, no one likes you. No one in San Francisco likes you anymore. Nowhere you used to work, they don't like you anymore. Your friends from college, they don't like you anymore. You know what? I don't like you either. I don't care. You screamed at people like me about wanting open public schools open in San Francisco while sending your children to $60,000 a year in-person private schools. Fuck you. I don't like you either. So you don't have to accept their assessment of you. You get to make the assessment. Okay, let's see. This is just my pre-list. Okay, but it's not just merch. People say that all the time. Your stupid merch. We've been around 4 months only. But you know what? It's not just merch. You wear the T-shirt. Let's see if I can do this without pulling my shirt up. You don't need to see my 55-year-old shirt. Okay, every time I wear this to the soccer game on the weekend and my kids play a shit ton of soccer, somebody comes up and either asks me what it means, or they lean in, they know what it means, and they've heard of me in Denver. My reputation precedes me, and they say, I agree with you. And then you have a conversation, and I tell them, then you need to stand up and say it. Because apparently 70% of people agree with us. Apparently, that's what the latest Gallup poll survey says. Does it feel like that to you? No, it doesn't feel like that, because most of the 70% are quiet. And so if I can provide one little tool, a hat, a T-shirt, to open up the door to having a conversation, a hard conversation, and bring that person out of the proverbial closet to say the very common sense thing, which is that male and female bodies are different. We all knew this up until 5 minutes ago, and it's okay, it's compassionate for women and girls to say we deserve our own safety, we deserve safety, privacy, fairness, all of these things. That is okay to say. That is compassionate. It isn't mean. If a T-shirt can help have that conversation, well, damn, I'm in. So wear the T-shirt. It's not just merch. Here's the thing. Was it just merch when Target did tuck-friendly bathing suits for children last year? No, it wasn't just merch. And those ideas had been smuggled in by Target and Nike and maybe some places I might know a little more about. I don't know. Those ideas for years had been smuggled in. They kept getting more and more aggressive and extreme. So we have to meet them where they are. We can't let them own the tools of culture. So it's not just merch. It matters. It's a conversation. It's a conversation starter. And you guys are all on board. You're all out there having, saying unpopular things, losing friends, making enemies. You've got to convince the people you talk with to come with you, because if we get that 70% that agrees with us to come out of the closet, then we can't lose. That's the key. We've got to get them to. I have one last point, which I was just saying to Alvin over there. Every Gen X white woman I know that believed in recovered memory in the 90s also believes in this bullshit. So most people are very gullible. And most people would rather stand with the crowd. And if they get to then stand apart and be right. And if they get to stand with the crowd and feel virtuous while doing it and while doing nothing, that was COVID.
Yeah.
Right? That was COVID more than anything I have ever seen. You got to scream out your window doing nothing but ordering food and watching Netflix and feeling like you were saving the world. My God, what a gift. So anyway, those were my just random thoughts responding to everybody. I'll never get through everything else. But I was asked to talk about standing up for your parental rights in school, and I'm not actually going to really talk about that. I was asked to give a practical approach. I'm not a very practical person, though. I just start. If something makes me mad, I just say it, and I just start. But here's the thing. I was raised to be incredibly obedient, so this should provide some encouragement to you. I was a gymnast. I mean, there is no environment that you can come up in that demands greater obedience than gymnastics. Certainly back in the 80s, I would argue also today. So if I can do it, if I can be okay with people not liking me, if I can be okay saying no, then everyone here certainly can, and most of the people you know as well. But they need some help and they need some inspiration. I have 4 kids. 2 are grown, 23 and 21, and they still talk to me, which I think is some sort of, I don't know, is that an endorsement of my parenting skills? I'm not sure. They're about as well-adjusted as you can be. They're both artists. They're children of divorce, and they still like me, so, that's something. But what I want to say is I also have 2 younger children, 9 and 7. And I know James was talking about homeschooling, which for my family isn't the right thing, although I guess I could be pushed there one day. But here, I have another hack for you. My kids go to school in another language. Yeah. Guess what? So it's not bilingual, it's immersion. So everything they learn is in Spanish. Most of the teachers are middle-aged women from Central America who don't believe in the term Latinx. They do not suffer fools. But really what's going on is they are working so hard to learn and understand another language. There's nothing else. There's no SEL. Now, we're only in 3rd grade. We're about to go to 4th. But I think it's a little bit of a hack. Send your kids to school in another language, and I think there won't be time for all the nonsense. It's a public charter. I highly recommend it. Okay. I want to talk what I intended to talk about, and just raise your hand, whoever's going to tell me when I'm over or about to run over. I want to talk about moral courage. Not practical advice for how to, whatever my assignment was, standing up for your parental rights. I want to talk a little bit about moral courage. I don't care where you get it from. I don't care if it's from your faith, from your family, from a little voice inside, from the drive to protect your own children. I think for myself, where I get it from, actually, is I wish, as a child, that somebody had protected me. I grew up in an incredibly abusive training environment. And I didn't realize how much that was at play until very, very recently, that I wish somebody had done the right thing by me as a child. So it doesn't matter where you get it from. I don't care if we have the same reason. I don't care if we disagree on other stuff. I'm sure I disagree with lots of people in here about lots of things. It doesn't matter. We agree on this. We agree that free speech is critical in getting the truth, and we believe in fighting for the truth and fighting for our children. That's all it takes. And you got to be willing to stand together on that. And you need to ask yourself every single day, if you don't do it, who will? Who's going to do it? There is no one else. No one is coming to save us. It's up to us. If not you, then who? And this is what I tell people all the time who come to me and they say, I'm thinking of doing X. Okay, do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And once you're out there, it gets easier. It gets easier every time. I've been canceled. I don't know. I'm losing track at this point. No, I think twice, and I'm working on the 3rd. And the world, I do think if you're canceled 3 times, you're uncancelable, basically, right? But the world is really disorienting, and it is so easy, even when you're in this and you have like-minded, people that you can work with. It's easy to question, am I wrong? Am I getting it wrong? During COVID, because me and my husband, Tiffany knows this, from day one, even before day one, we were like, hell no, this is not happening. Not the closed schools, not the closed playgrounds, not the mask on my 3-year-old. And we were very loud about it in San Francisco, of all places. And I have to say, unlike my husband, I paused every once in a while and I said, could I be wrong? He doesn't do that. He doesn't ask himself if he could be wrong. It's a gift. It's a gift. Perhaps only men have it. But I did. I mean, I didn't articulate it, but it made me go back, double my efforts, look at the data, and every time I realized I wasn't wrong, and that gave me the strength to keep going. But we can do that for each other. And we need to do that for each other because the onslaught is intense. Like, I'm 4 years in, but I look at my life now. In what month are we? August 2024. This is not the life I thought I was going to have at 55 years old. I live in a city I know no one in. I've literally never run into a single person outside of my house that I know. I lived in a city for 35 years. I knew every corner of that place. So I live in a place where I know no one. I certainly don't, my job is not what I thought it would be. I have family members that don't speak to me, and I don't have a single friend that I had. Well, I have one. But, before 2020, other than one friend, I don't really have any others. So my life is unrecognizable, but you know what? It's okay. Because I can look myself in the mirror. I got my husband. I got my kids. It sucks. It takes vigilance, but you have to support each other. You have to support each other. We need it. I need it. You guys think I don't need it? I totally need it. It's really hard sometimes, so support each other. But here's the thing. People are coming together on this issue. I believe it's because it's the most egregious violation of truth that one could fathom. COVID was a little more complicated, right? Most, airborne viruses, children do get sick, they bring them home. Like, explaining all that was complicated. I don't actually think it was complicated. I think it was the most illiberal thing that one can imagine, that they would tell us who could we could have in our homes, when we could leave our homes, if we could send our children to school, if we could run our own business. I don't care how lethal it is. You can't tell me that I can't leave my house. You can't. That said, this is a little more obvious. This is the most obvious example of being told we have to further a lie, that we have to say really stupid things like trans women are women. Male and female bodies are the same. Men can get pregnant, boys can get their periods, and some women have penises. They're telling us we have to say that. I'm not going to say those things. So, I mean, no women have penises. Exactly 0 women have penises. Do not play the language games. A lot of people have already said this, but this is, again, it's not just through brands and culture, but language. This is how these pernicious ideas get smuggled into the culture, and suddenly you're watching the Olympics, and a guy is bashing a woman in the back of the head, and then he wins a gold medal, and we're the bad guys for pointing out that he's a male. Oh. So, accept none of it. Not the language. You have to reject all of it. I accepted some of it for a while. I will admit, I did. I wanted to be nice, but our empathy is weaponized against us, and now I accept none of it. So I want to tell you about my 3 cancellations. I have 5 minutes, but this should give you a little encouragement. The first was I was the first former gymnast, to speak out about abuse in the sport. It was 2008. It was before Me Too. You would think it would be okay for a grown woman, 40 years old, to say these coaches, one of whom was a national team coach, are serial rapists. You would think now that that would have been an okay thing to say. It was not an okay thing to say. I was dragged through the mud. It was the early days of the internet. I didn't understand what that would be like. And to this day, even though Larry Nassar happened, that whole community does not acknowledge that I exist. Crazy, right? But guess what? I'm fine. I don't need them. I was somewhat redeemed because of the Nassar thing, the most prolific pedophile in American sports history. But right when that got resolved, I decided that I would tackle COVID. Good idea. So, that was on the world stage. But again, the commonality, the common thread, speech, children. People say to me all the time, why was this the hill you were willing to die on? And I did die on it, although I'm here. I think I'm resurrected. If you are not willing to stand up for free speech and kids, do you even have a hill? You do not. You have no principles, none at all. And I'm about principle, not party. So I abandoned my party to stand up for my principles. Yeah. After I left my job at Levi's, I started to interview. Now, this is my 3rd cancellation. I was asked repeatedly, this is in fall of 2023, will you disavow your actions and apologize? The implication being, if you do that, you can have this job as the CEO of an $8 billion company. I said, why would I apologize? I was right about everything. This is 2023. So it was at that moment, and I do want to say the people asking these questions were always the HR people. Yes. I'm not kidding. HR is a pernicious, it is a virus within the corporate environment. I've promised everyone that I work with, Josh being one of those people, that we will never have an HR department. We will not, because they monitor your speech, they monitor your language, and they contribute no revenue and no profits to the bottom line. So I can have HR to get benefits for us. That's it. There's no HR. That's not happening. So I realized I had to start my own thing that would combine my background as an athlete, a brand builder, and a person willing to say true but very inconvenient things to create a brand that can actually influence the culture. And I would like to set an example, and I would like others to realize that we need to influence the culture. I hate to say it, but I don't know, Jennifer, if you're going to disagree with me, but like a lot of the movies and the stuff, the culture stuff from the right, and I don't even consider myself on the right, but I'll just sort of put myself in that group, it's bad.
Horrible.
It's terrible. How are you going to win hearts and minds when you make such terrible crap? So, hopefully it provides a little bit of inspiration. We're told that we are part of the parallel economy. I would encourage everyone to reject that appellation. We're not parallel anything. 70% of Americans agree with us. We're the regular mainstream economy. We make product that is as good, if not better, than Nike or Lululemon. You should buy some. Percent of the proceeds today go to GenSpect. We also have little discount cards that you can get to use it online. So my point is, stand up, however you do it, support each other. Don't be afraid, it'll be okay. Look, I don't remember who was saying it. I'm not trying to pour me here, but like I said, my life is unrecognizable. There's nothing else that can be done to me, and I'm fine. My marriage is intact. My 4 children talk to me, tell me they love me. I've got a job that is of my own making. Every once in a while, when I'm about to send a tweet, I think, oh, can I do that? And I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. So just start. Choose principle over party. Make it okay for others to join you. That's all. That's all I wanted to say. Are we doing questions? Molly, who I met earlier.
Here's Annie.
Yeah.
You're at the next lecture.
Yeah.
And then you're going to use what is that about? So what do you say?
I say this is a company. I know. This is a company that I started. We are the only brand that is standing up for the protection of women's sports. We are the only brand that knows what a woman is. And then I see what they say. And then I address the questions.
I think right there, damn it. Bring out how to I can't hold my tempo.
Oh, do you need this?
Repeat.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I can repeat it, or you can. Do you want the mic?
Sure.
Oh, it doesn't stretch the. Oh, it. Yeah. No, I don't need that.
Is it working? I don't so much have a question as just to relate to your story. I started out, I have 3 kids, so we're all grown. I got started in this a couple of years ago when my youngest was a junior in high school. It brought to my attention what was going on in the classroom, and it just got started from there. I went from being the trusting and supportive parent of the school district. I live about 30 miles from here in Elmhurst to probably the most hated conservative in Elmhurst. And I'm still involved now because it's cultural. And I see, I learn little pieces of information. Jake said, saturation, that's a big word, right? You see, if parents are new to this, I would say the schools are the center of gravity for everything.
Yeah.
Which is what I've learned. And a lot of the things that I've learned aren't learned easily. You really have to dig into the school district and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get them to cough up the information. But, we use the FOIA, which I would encourage everybody to do, to grab information that's to be given to you.
Yeah.
And what you find out, when I have something to say, I go into a school board meeting and I say it publicly, all of this stuff is going on behind the scenes, on your back. And that's what you really need to figure out because, all this LGBT, changing the language. Some of the emails said they want the teachers to mandatory training for LGBTQ. We've talked about it today, but I'm like, there should just be one code of conduct for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You don't treat the blacks and the browns and the Chinese and the LGBT differently. You just treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do all these things. But I've lost some friends, not very many. I've gained a lot more. And it is
Good for you.
It's a very difficult at times, as everybody here knows, to be in the front lines and be attacked. I ran for school board. It was like rocking a sock to robots. I mean, it was like very ugly, and my family was attacked. I was attacked, but I'm wearing as a badge of honor. It doesn't bother me. I just keep going.
So
thank you for everything.
You're welcome. I always tell people a story. Last summer, my family went to Israel, all the 18 of us, my husband, his 2 siblings, all the children. My mother-in-law took us. He grew up right near here, Highland Park. And we went to Yad Vashem on the last day, which is the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. Sorry, I know you're going to have a question. But we went to the Righteous Among the Nations. It's the last room that you visit when you go to Yad Vashem. And this is all the people who basically, Jews and not Jews, saved Jews during the Holocaust. So a story was told by our guide about a man who you may have heard of, Aristides de Souza Mendes. So he was a Portuguese diplomat, and he saved supposedly over 10,000 Jews fleeing France when France was occupied. He was a diplomat. He wrote people visas so they could go out through Spain and then to America. When Portugal got word of what he was doing, he was summoned back to Portugal from France, and as he was riding the train back, he was throwing blank visas. The story always makes me almost cry. He was throwing blank visas out of the window of the train so that he could save as many people as possible. He died penniless because when he went back home, they took his job. His reputation was in tatters. You weren't supposed to do this. And he was asked before he died if he regretted what he had done. And let me see if I can get the quote right. He said, "If so many Jews can suffer because of one Christian," that was Hitler, about, you can debate, this is the quote, "then surely one Christian can suffer for so many Jews." So if he could do that, I draw inspiration from that. That's all I'll say. We can do this. Anyway, you were going to ask something.
Just like what you said about getting the culture back, and we do have to concentrate on that. That will go before the girls' teenagers reading too, and you're all over. And I also put out Spacey that children barrels that way. How was they calling a bull body like the play out, and they're like, "You're loud sports." She said, "What you get the favorite? They're like the."
It's punk rock now.
And like, you should not really take that. But, all that kind of stuff, because my guys said, "Man, you don't get ID." I think you have to get to the people in my age, and we do. We have to figure out how to get into the country.
Yes. In whatever way you know how. My brand was kicked off, permanently banned from TikTok, so make of that what you will. We were permanently banned within hours of going on TikTok. We appealed it a month later. They let us back on for about 8 hours, and we got kicked off again for an ad that just encourages women and girls to stand up for themselves. It's really quite heartwarming and somewhat anodyne, honestly, but they kicked us off for it because it's hate speech. So this is why I say we have a long road. We're seeing Title IX blocked in how many states? Over 20 states at this point. That feels like a massive step forward. But then you see what happened at the Olympics. Granted, those boxers were not trans, they have DSDs, but the psychology around allowing them to box within women's has been brought to us by trans ideology. Make no mistake. It's in the institutions. If my brand for running a really kind of nice and uplifting ad can get permanently banned from TikTok, we have a long way to go. I mean, I'm not making this about me, but that's, an indicator. Yeah.
Could that
It's quite a ask something. The Austiners are on that. We lost something, and that the aim was to really look forward in a fight code movement. But it seems like the commentary today is that, and it's so big, but going civic is or encouraging us not to be a part. And so I'm trying to figure out what you think that we need to all hear, not just us in this room, but those that we're going to talk to be real gladiators, because on the other side, there is no fear, there is no separation. They didn't call us and ask us for.
You see.
Gee.
So
And I would never tell anyone not to be afraid. I would say be afraid. It will be really hard. You might lose friends. You might have family members that are angry with you. You might lose your city. Like, I would never tell anybody not to be afraid. No, it's okay. Yes, but here, I guess here's my sort of thinking on it. The other side isn't afraid because they are filled with righteous indignation. They are so certain that they are right, just like the people screaming out their windows during COVID that you should have 3 masks on. They're so sure that they are right that they don't care. And they're not losing friends because everyone in their friend group agrees with them. They don't know a single person. That's why you had to be ousted. You're the first person they met who disagreed. You have to be banished forever. So they're just filled with righteous indignation. They're so smug and they're so sure they're right. But you know what? We're right. We're actually right. I'm sure. I'm sure. I am positive. Yes. Come on. You don't have to be like, don't get sucked into these arguments that they try to make it complicated. Boys cannot become girls. You cannot cut off a part and stick it somewhere else and then become another thing. We are more than the sort of materiality of our bodies, but you cannot Mr. Potato Head someone's body. So yes, I'm sure I'm right, and no one will convince me otherwise. Right? So we should forge ahead with that much righteousness. But I think the problem is you were alone. You had to stand up there, and it was scary, and no one was cheering for you. I mean, I was when I watched it on YouTube, but you didn't feel that in the room. And we don't usually feel this when we're in our own community. They're all fighting against us, but that's why I say we need to lean on each other. You need to find ways to get together with the people that support you. When you see someone do something brave like you did, write them, DM them, tell them she inspired you. It means so much, and it's enough to help you keep going. But that's why they're not afraid. They're all standing together, locked arms. And most people would rather stand with the crowd than stand apart and be right. But you can look yourself in the mirror. Anyone else, or is that it? That's it? You did? No?
What's the number? Or it's just like, a comment. So USA Swimming had their trials in Indianapolis. It was like run signs that say women's sports. Fathers gave me thumbs up and high fives. Mothers said, thank you. You're right. Young men, you're like right on, got fist bumps. Girls, young women would avert their eyes. They wouldn't even look me eye to eye.
Yeah, I have something to say about that. Keep going.
There has to be, this is something within the culture.
Yeah.
Girls aren't even able to stand up for themselves. And I don't even know what it's going to take to change stuff. But this is young women who are participating in their...
Yep. That's been girls and women, since forever, right? This is no different. This is garden variety misogyny. This is a bunch of males telling a bunch of young girls to sit down, shut up, and take your loss because we deserve it more. You may be uncomfortable. Your comfort doesn't matter. What we want matters more. We're here to take what you have.
And take care of us and feel sorry.
Yeah, they weaponize the empathy that young women are taught in a way that I think young men are not. Indianapolis is the home of all things evil from a sports governance process. USAG is located there. So I have all kinds of things to say about Indianapolis. But you're right, and we just started this fund. So I think we started the XXXY Athletics Fund. It's a scholarship fund for girls, currently competing girls, who stand up or stand down, who push back against this nonsense. Because I don't think the sports piece of it ends until the currently competing girls and women stand up. I can scream all day long. Riley can scream all day long. We're not competing anymore.
Yeah.
We can give them inspiration. We can help them, motivate them, give them courage. But it's an uphill battle. Like I said, I was that girl. And athletes even more so are really obedient. You train 8 hours a day. You do exactly what your coach tells you to. You believe that if you do exactly what you're told, you'll achieve what you want. So it's an uphill battle, but I think that's the goal, is to get those young girls, those currently competing athletes, those young women to stand up for themselves and to not have to get to 40, which is the age I was when I was finally willing to do it, when I wrote my first book. And sports is the tip of the iceberg. It's obviously not the whole story, but it's this real kind of manifestation that everybody can see. And I think if we can win the sports battle, it opens the door for the rest of it. Yeah.
fix me out another second. Just, what do you say to girls? I don't mean girls, but if they're any two, I get the questions, but, you know, they don't want to talk like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so I have only one girl, 3 boys and 1 girl, and the girl's the youngest, and she's 7. And like no person I've ever met in my life, she does not give a fuck. Like she does not care who likes her. It's an amazing quality. It's very annoying in a 7-year-old, as you can imagine. So she's very difficult to parent. But I think the most important thing is to teach your children. I think at the age of my child, it's not teaching them what to say in those situations so much as modeling the behavior and teaching them it's okay to stand apart. If you do not prepare a child for that, they will always stand with the group. You know, so I try to model that. I try to teach her to really think about what she thinks. I mean, obviously, she thinks all kinds of kooky shit. She's 7. But to really sort of give that some thought, and again, to be okay with standing apart. She has it naturally. I didn't. I needed more encouragement. That's what I was telling Alvin earlier. I think there's a professor at Stanford, Philip Zimbardo, who is like the Psych 101 professor. I don't even know if he's still alive. He did the Stanford prison experiment. Like he knows all about people kind of doing what they're told in obedience. He started this organization called Heroes in Waiting. And his belief is that we need to train our children to do the right thing in the moment. If they are not taught to do that, when the moment presents itself, they will not. They will do the wrong thing. They will stand with the crowd rather than stand up for the person that needs help. I think it's such an amazing concept, this notion of, you know, and hopefully maybe one day they won't have to, they probably will, but I don't know, I don't have the specific language to say it, but I'm trying to teach my daughter and to model the behavior for her that she should be herself, stand apart, and it's okay to stand apart if you believe that you are doing the right thing.
Let me flip that. Okay. It's really, with my 3 boys, get the misogynist, you know, comments, whatever, you're a guy, they're dismissed. I don't know when they're, and not that they have to win, but you know what I mean?
Well, I think there's 2 things. Yeah, I'm going to put this one to the crowd. I think there's just not believing it and just saying, no, I'm not. Sorry. And just walk away. I mean, you don't have to engage the argument on their terms. The terms are flawed. It's like using pronouns, right? You don't have to engage on their terms. You can reject their terms and redefine the discussion and the argument and then walk away. That's what I would tell them. I mean, that's what I generally do. If you go down the rabbit hole of that conversation, you never win. So you have to kind of step back and define it for yourself and not believe it. That's the problem, is we all let, maybe not everybody in this room,
Believe it.
but if we let those terms that they throw at us, whether it's racist with my, 2 mixed race children, or white supremacist, Christo-fascist, I get that one a lot. As an atheist Jew, that's something, right? Like you cannot, just don't let it stick, I guess. That's the best you can do. You don't have to argue with them. Just don't believe it. I think that's like more empowering. Yeah.
Comment. It's great to phrase on what they say right here with the out. To me, fear gender not clarity done they probably turn full and stop after playing these something.
100%. Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's an interesting thing that's happening now, though, because it's also this age of self-care and boundaries and all that bullshit, which I also think is problematic. It's like, you have more children who are estranged from their parents, grown adult children, than has ever had. I think it's like 30% of adult children are estranged from parents because of boundaries, which I also think is problematic. So I don't know how you bridge that gap. Yeah, I don't have a good end to that, but I agree with you. It's the thing we've been hearing, like, just if you're a tomboy, which I totally was as an athlete, as you might imagine, it doesn't mean you're a boy. So just be who you are, which is so cliche at this point. Anyway, I don't know that I have any more to say. Does anyone have another question? Get some merch. Wear it to the soccer game. Have the hard conversation.
Thank you so much. We'll just take a quick break, and then we have our last hand.